rear-wheel drive V8 sports car is something that is quickly being phased out. But while this is happening, some of the greatest ones can be found for an unbelievable bargain. The early 2005 to 2007 C6 Corvette is one of the most exciting performance cars available for around $20,000. With a legendary LS2 V8 and an elegant design that has aged effortlessly, the C6 might just be the best value used sports car on the market in 2024. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look into why. Back in 1997, GM began the LS engine line, which is now one of the most popular platforms in the performance car world. These engines would go on to help grow the Corvette into the brand it is today, and is certainly the big selling point of this C6. Equipped with a 6.0-liter LS2, the C6 packs a punch with 400 horsepower and 400 foot-pounds of torque, which goes quite far in this lightweight 3,200-pound package. The LS2 is found in the 2005 to 2007 Corvette, eventually replaced by the LS3 in 2008. Although the LS3 is commonly accepted as the better engine, the LS2 is no joke, bringing the Corvette to 60 miles per hour in just 4.1 seconds with a top speed just short of 190 miles per hour. Now the heart of the C6 is plenty powerful, but is it reliable? The answer is a firm yes, with one small exception. The harmonic balancer, also referred to as the crank pulley, is defective from factory, likely requiring an aftermarket replacement upon purchase, something that this particular car already has. Now, once that's been done, these things will reach 200,000 plus miles relatively easily. And to top it off, it's easy to monitor the engine while driving, with oil temperatures and pressures always readily displayed in the gauge cluster, so you'll know if anything is ever going wrong. Before we go any further, I want to quickly tell you about Aura, who is sponsoring today's video. Have you ever went ahead and Googled yourself online and be shocked when you're met with a bunch of your personal information found on some of those public listing sites? Now, I myself am a pretty private person, and I was really surprised to find websites out there with my actual home address, my phone number, and even personal information of my relatives. This was of great concern to me, but thankfully, using Aura, I was able to wipe some of these worries away. Essentially, there are these entities known as data brokers who are collecting as much of your personal information as possible, and they end up making a fortune selling it to robocallers, scammers, and others who want to learn more sensitive information about you, such as like where you live. Aura can identify the data brokers that are exposing your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Now, the thing is that these data brokers are legally required to remove your information if asked to do so. However, they make it nearly impossible to do, so what's awesome is that Aura can completely handle that for you. On top of that, Aura also does so much more to protect you and your family from online threats that you can't see. It puts so many features all in one place, and it's really easy to set up, so you don't have to download a bunch of different apps to get things like parental controls, antivirus, VPN, password management, and identity theft insurance. You get all these in one place and at one affordable price, which to me is really useful. So let Aura do the hard work for you of keeping you and your family safe online so that you can focus on your daily life with peace of mind. Now, you can either let people continue to exploit and profit off of your private information, or you can protect yourself by going to aura.com/runningtoredline to start your completely free 2-week trial that is also linked below in the description. Big thank you to Aura for sponsoring today's video. As a whole, the C6 is truly thrilling to drive, and always feels like it's well within your control. I did a review of a C6 ZR1, and while it was a rocket ship, it came with some sketchy moments. The base C6 doesn't feel that way, and enables hard driving without much worry of going over the edge. And that's a driving dynamic I've truly enjoyed while driving this car. It feels like you can unleash it on the street without finding yourself behind bars or in a tree. That being said, the LS2 still pulls plenty hard and retains that classic growling V8 sound. Funny enough, my first ever car review was a 2008 C6 with an LS3, and I must admit that these two cars actually feel very similar. This is actually the only C6 variant that I haven't already reviewed, but it certainly holds its ground, and the LS2 is definitely perfectly at home under the hood of this car. Now, as far as transmission options are concerned, the 2005 is a bit odd. A 6-speed manual can be had, or a 4-speed automatic, which is actually what this car has. In 2006, the automatic was moved to a 6-speed instead of a 4-speed. Now, the 4-speed definitely feels a little odd at first, but it actually shifts quite nicely and very smoothly. It runs higher RPM on the highway than a 6-speed would, and feels taller under acceleration. The gears take a long time to rev out, allowing the engine to howl for prolonged periods of time. Now, paddle shifters are not equipped, but gears can be chosen with the selector in the middle. And as a whole, I think the manual is still the best option, but the automatic is certainly very livable. And speaking of practicality, the C6 has plenty of storage space. This comes in the form of a large hatch, providing room for tons of luggage, making the C6 completely road trip capable. As for the styling of the C6, it's an undeniably beautiful car, with a simple elegance that's lost on many modern designs. The car's rounded lines give it a sleek appearance, well complemented by a very aggressive stance. It's worth mentioning that this car has aftermarket Morimoto headlights, a common upgrade as the factory headlights easily fade. The roof is also wrapped black to finish out this red and black theme that this particular car has. And with that said, the roof also can be removed and stored in the hatch in a targa top fashion, a great bonus for those of you who aren't seeking a convertible but still want a taste of what that would have to offer. In essence, it's safe to say that the C6 hasn't aged much at all, with a classic design that remains very popular to this very day. And I personally can't think of a single car in this price range that's better looking, and that's surely worth something. The interior is variable based on trim level, but a great place to be regardless. In this 3LT trim, which is the highest of the base model trims, the C6 has heated leather seats that are ultra comfortable with good bolstering. It has a heads-up display and a navigation system within the head unit. This steering wheel is unique to a 2005 and is wrapped in a leather that's held up pretty great over the years, showing pretty much no signs of wear. The gauge cluster is simple and well lit, with all necessary information clearly displayed with ergonomics clearly in Chevy's mind. This interior is a massive upgrade from the previous generation C5, feeling far more upscale with the amount of creaky plastics heavily reduced. Moving into the suspension and handling, this C6 has the Z51 package, which entails better cooling systems and stiffer suspension. The C6 has a double wishbone independent suspension with stiff springs. Having independent suspension results in a smooth ride that can be totally daily driven, and on the other hand, the C6 also has very stiff sway bars, meaning it's nearly perfectly flat in hard cornering and effortlessly responds to erratic weight transfers. The rear suspension stiffness also results in a more understeery feel, a car setup that I personally favor over a loose rear end. All of these things combined give you as a driver great confidence in the car, making the experience all the more enticing. At this point, the C6 is truly an exhilarating driving experience. The Z51 package also means better brakes, and with massive drilled rotors on this specific car, it stops on a dime. The rear rotors are almost comically small on the other hand, although the fronts are generally responsible for the majority of deceleration. The stock brake pads are prone to fade and definitely need to be changed for track use, but for street driving, the brakes are right up to par with the rest of this performance machine. In summation, the early 2005 to 2007 C6 Corvette can be had for just north of $20,000, a fair bit under the later C6 model years. And for that, you land a legendary LS2 V8, a lightweight chassis that handles like a supercar, and a timeless design that turns heads everywhere. Better yet, the C6 is nearly bulletproof, with a reasonable maintenance cost as well. It really is a car that you can't go wrong with, and one that I don't think can be beaten at this price point. If you're looking for a C6, the LS2 option is a great buy and one that you will definitely not regret. There's a reason that the C6 remains so popular nearly 2 decades later. It's a masterful demonstration of a car enthusiast's favorite formula. This has been a car review with Running to Redline. Thanks for watching and have a great day.